Hello friends, hope you are doing good. In our previous video, we have worked on Azure PowerShell and used some of the commands to create a resource group virtual network and also to create the virtual machine. In this video, let us do one exercise and create a virtual machine using Azure CLI. To invoke the Azure CLI commands, you can use the PowerShell or any command prompt. If you type az version, if it is installed, if the Azure CLI is installed, it will prompt the version and you are ready to go with the commands. Whatever commands I am running, I am using from this document, microsoft.com, and there are commands which are available and it shows how to create the virtual machine, virtual network, virtual machine, and how to get the VM information. So everything is given in the detail. You can check out this document and you can also try out creating the virtual machine using the Azure CLI. Let me go back to the command prompt and open the notepad and start creating this virtual machine. If you look at this command, there is a variable which are being used. When you run the command, the variables are used to create the resources on the Azure cloud. If you don't want the variable to be used, you can simply use the command straight away, and instead of variable, what you have to do is you need to copy this, remove the variable, and copy the information straight away instead of using the variable. It is always a good practice to use the variables, because whenever you are creating multiple resources, you can use the variables and point to that particular resource name. If you are creating any demo or test virtual machines, you can use the commands straight away. So let us use the command without the variable and create the resource group. I'll take the command and create the resource group. This will be creating the resource group in East US location, and the command has succeeded. We have already run this command with normal command syntax without using the variable. This time I have to use the variable. I have modified the commands because these commands I will be running on the PowerShell. So I have modified the variable with the dollar symbol. Let me copy this command and paste into the PowerShell. To set the variables, I have copied all the variables and pasted into the PowerShell command prompt. Now I wanted to execute this command to create the virtual network. This command will create the virtual network and the subnet, whatever we have mentioned in this variable. So the VNET will be created as tutorial VNET, and there will be a subnet which will be created as tutorial subnet with the prefix for the VNET as 16 and prefix for subnet as 24. And this is the command syntax what we are going to run. Since the variable is already set, the command should run perfectly fine. Let us go ahead and check in the Azure portal and see what is the status. The resource group, I can see there is a resource group which is created, and I can also see the virtual network which is being created, and the virtual network is created with the address space as /16. Go to the resource group, and if you refresh, you will see all the resources which are being created. The virtual network and the subnet, we have to check for the subnet. This is the subnet. Yeah, I can see the subnet is also created with the address space as /24. Let me go back to the command prompt and use the another command to create the virtual machine. I will use this command to create the virtual machine. This command is to create the virtual machine with Microsoft Windows 2022 server, and all the variables it will take with this name. Let me enter. There is some problem creating the virtual machine. I think we have not mentioned the virtual machine name in the variable, so it has given the syntax error. Let me copy this and set the variable for the virtual machine. I need to put the double quote here to set the variables. So the variable is correct. Let me rerun the command again to create the virtual machine. It is asking me the password to enter. I'll enter the password. So it has started creating the virtual machine. Let me go back to the portal and see what is the status of the resources. So basically, you need to see the resources for the virtual machines being created under the resource group. Now all the resources are being populated one by one. So we have the resources required for this virtual machine. Still it is running, and if I go to the virtual machine itself, I should be able to see the virtual machine and the public IP address. I don't know exactly what is the name of the user. So it has taken the local admin. Okay. Once the resources are created, let us log into the virtual machine and check if I am able to log in. So public IP address is this one. I will log into the public IP address, local admin, with the so I need to use local admin user ID. Yeah, if you see this dialog box, that means you are able to log into your virtual machines without any issues. And the credentials, whatever you have given, that is working fine.